Hi, greetings. Today I will present about my dream destination, London, England. My name is Shafiq Afzal bin Abdullah. My ID number 2021052777HUM. I will present it for Miss Fatima. Hi, today I will tell about my dream destination. Destination that I really want to visit is London. This is map of destination of London. London is situated on the bank of the River Thames. It is the seat of the government of the United Kingdom and the country financial centre. The city has used its privileged location in southeastern England to its advantage, having always been a densely populated and wealthy area. During the 14th century, London port became a European hub for the distribution of goods. This activity was changed during the 15th century thanks to its relevant textile industry. In 1665, the city was still held inside the ancient walls, although large-scale urban planning had already started. The population's poor living conditions were responsible for the Great Plague, killing 70,000 people, and the following year a huge fire burns down most of the city. The reconstruction of London, based on the area we now call the city, took over 10 years to finish. London continued to grow thanks to the foundation of the Bank of England in 1694. It was the second central bank in the world, rapidly following the Swedish Sveriges Riksbank, and arguably the most successful. It provided the financial flexibility which would be the foundation of the empire's power, and whose vestiges can be seen today in London as a financial center. From year 1750, the population increased from 700,000 to over 4.5 million in 1901. At the end of the 19th century, London had become a major international trade and financial capital. The administrative need of a city with so much commercial activity led the creation of a new autonomous territorial unit in 1888, the County of London, ruled by the London County Council. This county was divided into 29 electoral units, the city, and 28 metropolitan. But the progressive expansion soon overflowed outside the county boundaries to the suburban areas. After a steady period, the population of the capital began to decline at the end of the World War I and fell below 3.5 million by 1950. In contrast, the suburban area grew steady. In 1963, a new division of London was made, comprising the Old Town and 32 metropolitan, and these are the divisions which can be seen today. 1. The British food. The British food is a blending of 4 different rich culture and the 4 countries. If you go to the UK, the food below is must try fish and chips. Perhaps the most typical British food. British people prefer the cold and hot dog over other sort of fish. You can also prepare some boiled fish mixed with salt, pepper, or other ingredients. Sunday roast with yogurt pudding. One cannot talk about British food without mentioning the Sunday roast with Yorkshire pudding, usually served on Sundays afternoon. However, you can eat during the week also. You can ask for a roast dinner with the chicken, turkey, or whatever, but you definitely should not miss the Yorkshire pudding. Commonly, the Yorkshire pudding is accompanied with beef ekkel cake, delicious round small cakes containing currant. Is named after a town in Manchester with the same name. Across the London, you can find different versions of this delicious food because it's not strictly associated with a particular place. Pudding, onion, oatmeal, and blood are mixed together and create a delicious food, often called a superfood because it rich in protein, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Moreover, it's almost free of carbohydrate. It would decrease from your diet. label bread. The label bread is another British food typically found in Wales to prepare it. The seaweed is boiled, then chopped and smashed, rolled in oatmeal, and then fried. This food is often referred as a rash. Caviar, Scotch, egg are a dish containing a mixed egg with the sausage meat, bread, ham and fried. Shepherd pie, the strawberry pie is usually cooked with meat, beef or lamb more often, and mashed with grinded potato. Full English breakfast. The typical English breakfast is rich with ingredients including bacon, sausage, eggs, toast, mushroom, tomatoes, and tea or coffee. A cup of tea is a quintessential symbol of London culture. You probably be offered tea in most places you visit in the UK. So bear this in my mind: breakfast, dinner and tea or breakfast, lunch and dinner are the most common names to describe meals. 2. British language. English is the official language and main language spoken in the UK from over 65 million citizens that live in the country. Roughly 98 of them speak English as their first language. Other than English in the UK, these are official native language Welsh in Wales, Gaelic and Scots in Scotland, and Ulster Scott in Northern Ireland, Cornish in Cornwall, England. Note that each bit of this language comes with their own dialect and accent. All across the UK, therefore, the linguistic diversity in the UK is pretty large compared to English. These languages are less widely spoken. Some of them are even at risk of slipping toward complete extinction. Okay, now, based on my research, I will explain 5 activities and tourism attractions that can be done in destination that I will visit. First, visit Buckingham Palace and watch the changing of the guard. One of Britain's most iconic buildings, Buckingham Palace, is also the scene of London's most popular display of pomp and system things. The changing of the guard, drawing crowd at 11:30 AM regardless of the season. This colourful and free display of procession, marching and music also take place at St. James Palace, after which I can follow and the band along the mall as they march between sides. Buckingham Palace was built in 1837 and has been a London residence of the royal family since Queen Victoria's accession. If I'm wondering whether the Queen is in, look at the flagpole atop the building. If the royal standard is flying day and night, she is at home. On special state occasion, she and members of the royal family may even emerge on the central balcony. When the Queen away at her summer base in Scotland, visitors can purchase tickets for tour of the state room, the Queen's Gallery and the Royal Mews. Number 2, see the Royal Jewels at Tower of London and walk across Tower Bridge. From prison to palace, treasure vault to private zoo, the magnificent Tower of London has fulfilled many different roles over the centuries. One of the Britain's most iconic structures, this spectacular World Heritage Site offers hours of fascination for visitors curious about the country's rich history. After all, so much of it happened here, inside the massive White Tower, built in 1078 by William the Conqueror, is the 17th century line of king with its remarkable display of royal armament and armors. Other highlights include the famous Crown Jewels exhibition, the Beefeater, the Royal Mint, and gruesome exhibit about the execution that took place on the ground. The Bloody Tower presents stories of ancient torture, and you can learn about the mystery of two princes who disappeared many years ago. Okay, next, Tower Bridge. The adjacent Tower Bridge is two huge towers rising 200 feet above the river Thames. is one of London's best-known landmarks. Fascinating behind-the-scenes tours are available. Walk across for the best tower views, as well as a glimpse of London Bridge, which many mysteriously believe Tower Bridge to be. In the distance, further along the Thames, at the south side of the bridge, you'll find Butler Wharf, a funky section of town boasting multiple restaurants. For the best use of my time, especially during the busy summer season, based on my research, I will purchase the Tower of London entrance tickets, including Crown Jewels and Beefeater Tour, in advance to bypass the ticket office lines. This price guarantees the lowest price, helps avoid the crowds, and save time and hassle. 3. Get culture at the British Museum. Displaying one of the world's finest collection and antiquities, the British Museum contains more than 30 million artifacts from the ancient world, with priceless objects from Assyria, Babylonia, China, Europe, and elsewhere. It's hard to know where to begin in this expensive attraction. Most tourists head first for the museum's most famous exhibit, the controversial Elgin marble from the Parthenon, the Rosetta Stone, the colossal bust of Ramesses II, the Egyptian mummies, and the spectacular hoard of 4th century Roman silver known as the Mildenhall treasure. In addition to a well-stocked on-site bookshop boasting an exhaustive array of titles on ancient history, archaeology, and art history, there are shops selling kids, games, and souvenirs, along with one that sells replica sculpture and jewelry. For those able to linger longer, the museum offers a variety of lecture and workshop, plus a restaurant and cafe. Number 4. Get captive by Big Ben and the House of Parliament. Nothing screams London more emphatically than the 380-foot tower housing the giant claw and its sounding bell known as a Big Ben. It as iconic a landmark as Tower Bridge, and the tolling of Big Ben is known throughout the world as the time signal of the BBC. Below it, stretching along the Thames, are the House of the Parliament, seat of Britain government for many centuries and once the site of the Royal Westminster Palace occupied by William the Conqueror. The best view can be had by crossing Westminster Bridge and looking back, or turn left after crossing the bridge and walk along the path toward the Sea Life London Aquarium, a fun spot to take the kids. Gather your crew along the wall for a perfect photo with Big Ben in the background. Tour of the Parliament building offer a unique chance to see real-time debate and lively political discussion. From Parliament Square, Whitehall is lined by so many government buildings that its name has become synonymous with the British government. Number 5. Get creative at the National Gallery. It's almost impossible to visit London without catching a glimpse of the impressive National Gallery. This iconic column museum is set at the edge of Trafalgar Square, home to incredible masterpieces that make it one of the best attractions in London. Ranking among the top art museums in the world, London National Gallery represents an almost complete survey of European painting from 1260 until 1920. The museum's greatest strengths are in its collection of Dutch masters and Italian school of the 15th and 16th centuries. Among its highlights are a cartoon of the Madonna and Child by Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo the Atonement, Botticelli Venus and Mars, Van Gogh Sunflower, and the Water Lily Pond by Monet. Okay, now for transportation. How will I travel? By using what mode of transportation? If I departure from KLIA to London, it will take 13 hours 45 minutes to reach there. Next, what will the travel cost to reach London, England? Based off my research, the cheapest is from 2,529 with Etihad Airlines, while the first class flight is 3,663 using Malaysia Airlines. Next, how will I travel around after I reach my destination, and what will the cost? If I use taxi, what is taxi fare in London? The basic fee is £3 per kilometer. The kilometer price is 2.30 pounds to 1.70 pounds for standing and waiting time, and 30 pounds is charged per hour. Next, what type of accommodation will I choose when I get there? Of course, I will choose hotel because hotel are the most traditional type of travel accommodation. While there are different price level and rooms type, the most common is a room with 1 or 2 beds, a full bedroom, a TV, maybe a mini fridge, kettle, and coffee maker. You can also rent suite from traditional hotel building, which including living space and kitchenettes. Hotel also have front desk service and sometimes a pool or spa. They often have a restaurant inside and often breakfast buffet, which are sometimes included with your stay. Next is currency. At there, they using pound sterling. Next, how much will I spend my money for food, gift, tour for this trip? The average price of a 7-day trip to London is £2,002 for a solo traveller, and 3,569 for a couple, and 6,741 pound for a family of 4. London hotel range from 77 pound to 351 pound per night, with an average of 148 pound, while most vacation rental will cost 280 pound to 590 pound per night for the entire home. Next, for signature food, what are the food requirements that I need when I traveling? I will bring MRT food like this. I have many choice of menu to bring it with me. So, and last but not least, local food or restaurant that I should highlight when I get there is Melissa Kitchen, Chemise Grill, and Iran Restaurant. Those restaurants provide many halal delicious menu that I will not regret.